Pray with me. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O God, our source of strength, the gift of salvation. Amen. I'm probably preaching to the choir on this one, but let me ask the question anyway. Have you ever gone to your physician to have one thing checked out, and the next thing you know, they're checking out a bunch of other stuff? Do I have an amen? Amen. Hands? Has that happened? It seems that as we get older, that is more frequent to the normal visit. Sometimes this unexpected deviation is fortuitous, as when they say, well, let us check this out, and something that was previously undetected is discovered and indeed becomes life-saving. Other times they check it out and it turns out to be nothing more than a fruitless suspicion. And sometimes, in some cases, it ends in an a successful exploration that provides for us information and substance, but nothing more. This last example was the outcome that I knew from the examinations I had over the last several years at Mayo Clinic in Rochester and Columbia University in New York City, both reaching exactly the same conclusions regarding my own situation that were different from the original diagnosis of 10 years ago. And I thought to myself, when they said that, when they agreed, I thought, wow, I finally arrived. This is awesome. What do we do next? Where do we go from here? But what I found out, what I was told, was there is no next. There is no next, because there was nothing more. They had the information, they got to where they wanted to go and to take me, but there was nothing more the physicians could do. What they found was beyond them. Now, trying to put a positive spin on it, for which I am eternally grateful, because, when you see somebody's down face, it's always nice if somebody tries to pick you up. They said, well, we could continue and do some genetic testing, and then we could take your tests and compare it to other people who have the same diagnosis, and then we would, why do that? And they said, well, then you'd know how your life might look in 5 or 10 years. I'm thinking, oh, really? I want to know that? Actually, that's not true. The first thing I thought to myself was, and who's going to pay for that? Right? Because it's an elective thing, and so it's on your nickel. But the point is that in an instant, everything for me had changed. In an instant. Life was very different. And I don't know how you would have responded given, if you were in turn in my place. I don't know how you would have answered the physicians with one thing they did present to me. Maybe you would choose that option in order to catch a glimpse of your future, of what might transpire, what was likely to transpire. Perhaps you're one of those individuals that would derive some comfort and peace from knowing. But what I can tell you is, if I knew and they told me, every day from that moment on would be filled with dread. It would be filled with dread as I would be counting the days of my inevitable decline. Now, I'm speaking just for myself, and I know that some people information is like the God, this gives them the control they want in a sense that they can do something. But in that moment, it was beyond our control. And I realized something we kind of all know but don't think about much, and yet it stares us in the face each and every day. In an instant, everything can change. Everything can change. For me, on that day, it had, or maybe it hadn't. Because what I was awakened to, as I thought about it, was even though that day had specific news, and I was given, a glimpse, at least, into what might be ahead, that day was still no different than any other day. In that we all share the fact, as David said, King David said to his son Solomon, we always live with the notion and the truth that there is but one breath between us and the end. It's always there. No matter what we encounter, no matter what we go through or endure, it is always there. Each day holds its own challenges, its own risks, and its own promises. Each moment of life bears the possibility of the unexpected, unanticipated events that will have bearing upon our lives. Life is good and a precious gift. We forget that. It's a precious gift, and none of us here did anything to deserve it. We act like we did, or we act like, somehow we're owed something, but we did nothing to deserve this gift. And we did nothing, and we probably really, in the great scheme of things, do nothing to earn a guarantee of ease or well-being, something that somehow I deserve something more than anyone else. Things happen. Not because we're this or that compared to others, Remember the Pharisee praying next to the poor man in the temple? He looks at him and says, thank God that I am not like him. Life's a great equalizer. We like to say at times of trouble that it isn't fair, but in reality it is fair. We all got stuff. We all got stuff. Things happen, not because this or that is more than anyone else, but simply because we live among the calamities, the catastrophes, and the concerns that we share with each other. Which entails goodness right alongside riskiness. Joy next to sorrow, unexpected surprises of both a good and bad nature. When you think about it, many things in life that are good for one person happen because they were lost by another. You make money in the stock market, well, that means somebody else lost. Or at least that's what I'm told, right? My son's a police officer, and when we kid, I think, and I say, if you solved crime, you'd be unemployed. Now, that's kind of facetious and a little twisted, I understand. But there is that, that takes place, and we're all caught in that reality. It's just, we have this tendency to lock down on the stormy days to the neglect of the numerous sunny ones. I think we all probably have those we have a great day and then somebody lets us have it, right? Or says, I don't like your shoes. That doesn't bother me, by the way, if you say something about my attire, because I really don't care. And Jeannie's gone this weekend for her father's 85th birthday, so whatever I'm wearing, it's all me. When we let one thing bring us down, right? If you look back on your life, how many good years have you had compared to the others? And sometimes the others, the hard years, are what give us the good ones. But the reality is, and pastoring just reminds me of this all the time, everybody's carrying something. Everybody's got stuff. We all bear burdens. Some are hidden, some are very obvious, from which we would love to be free. The Apostle Paul writes very openly about a disability he suffered from in one of his letters in the early church. He had a disability. It's suspected to be epilepsy or something of that nature, because he had convulsions that would occur spontaneously in public, bringing him great embarrassment. And 3 times he petitioned God to heal him, cure him, take them away, which never happened, leading him to discover that when he was weakest, when he was humblest, when he was at his lowest point, he found the strength he needed looking elsewhere. That when he was weak, he found a different kind of strength. He said, when I am weak, then I am strong. He didn't find a cure, but he found the strength to endure. Concluding and sharing with us that he learned that such grace was enough. Such grace was enough. The unexpected he encountered was not what he wanted, but it didn't exclude the good that was still in his life, the work he still had to do and could do. You know, the world doesn't revolve around our wants and desires, and sometimes we're fortunate enough to bend it towards our will, but most of the time it's beyond us. And we either revolve and evolve as the world turns, or we don't. And when we don't, we not only experience the futility of what we are doing, but I would say to you, we raise questions about our faith. We raise questions about our faith. And that's what the parable or the story of the seeds and their planting reminds us of. You know, seeds are planted. The farmer puts them in the ground year after year, trusting that they will come up. At the same time, knowing there's a good chance that there will be a problem that destroys them all. You know, the area of the country where I grew up, hailstorms were not uncommon. A beautiful, beautiful day, and then the storm clouds roll over the Rocky Mountains, and wham, the hail comes down. I lost 2 cars to hail in 1 week. There is nothing you can do about it. And the odd thing about hail, like tornadoes, is it may strike on that side of the road and leave this side of the road fine. And yet the farmer, in faith, doing all they can, but also knowing there's a lot more they can't do, year after year, put that seed down. Whether droughts or floods lie ahead, they can't stop that. They know that. But because of faith, they believe it will, in the long run, right? In the long ball game, it will work out. And we are encouraged and reminded life for us is to do the same, to do it until we can't, realizing there will be ups and downs, ins and outs, turns and twists, some in our favor, some not, but over the long haul, it is good until we quit. The gamble is always there, but also the bountiful harvest. It's faith that makes that happen. And the question that follows that is then, you know, when you examine about what you invest in life and what you expect out of life, you have to ask, why do you do it? What is it you're doing it for? What do you live for? That answer to that will make all the difference. Because we'd be foolish to think that the days ahead will or should be carefree. It would be ridiculous to think that every break coming our way will fall our way, which need not remove the glow of our existence. It just tarnishes it for a bit. Asking that we get out the rag and the polish and begin to shine it right back up. When my youngest daughter, Kelly, was a freshman in high school, she was born with the gift of being able to run. From the minute she jumped out of the womb, she was on her way. And as a freshman, she decided that she would run cross country because in the announcements of the morning, the principal said, we would like some more girls to come out for cross country. And even though she had never participated or had no idea what she did, what that was about, she said, well, I can run. Okay, I'll do it. She volunteered. The challenge that she faced that, a 14 or 15-year-old would not think of was that she was also playing soccer at such a level that she was playing all the time in that form as well. So she could run on the soccer field or in the cross-country event, but what it led to was severe shin splints. You ever had shin splints? Hurts. They hurt. And the only way you get rid of shin splints is to stop. Well, any of you who know her know that is not in her nature as well. And I'm glad it wasn't, because if she had stopped at that point, I wouldn't have this story. For you see, Jean and I were lucky enough at one particular event when this was all going on that she was running on a rather level course with no trees or interruptions. In cross country, if you're going to be a spectator, there aren't any stands to sit on and watch the race. You have to kind of move to where the corners are and the runners are revealed. But this race was the track was particularly open, and so we could see her pretty much all the way around. And as she got within eyesight at different spots, we could see she was hurting. We could see she was hurting. And about 3/4 of the way through the race, as she came towards us, we not only could sense that she was hurting, we could see the tears running down her cheeks. And we were pretty sure she would not be able to finish the race. But that is when, and I truly feel blessed to have seen this, that is when a competitor ran up next to her and said, "Don't stop, I hurt too." Don't stop, I hurt too. When you hear that, what more can be said? What more can be said about faith, about life, about grace, hope, the sufficiency of it all? What more can be said? What more can we do except to hang our hat on that and continue running the good race that we might finish the course. Not because we are special, not because we deserve something others do not, but because we are people of faith who believe that if we stop, if we give up, we fail not just ourselves, but we fail the world and others around us. If we relent, we deny the crux of what we claim to be our faith, that life is ever Lord over death, and that, as Paul proclaimed, absolutely nothing has the power to separate us from the love of God in the resurrected Christ. Neither powers in heaven nor powers on earth, neither what happens today nor what may happen tomorrow has that power to separate us unless we let it. And friends, if you grab a hold of nothing more than just that, the Spirit in your life will change. In that instant, everything will change. And the change will be enough. You know this. I was there to hear your mourning cry. I'll be there when you are old. I rejoice the day you were baptized to see your life unfold. I was there when you were but a child, with a faith to suit you well. I'll be there in case you wander off and find where demons dwell. I was there to hear your mourning cry. I'll be there when you are old. I rejoice the day you were baptized to see what life unfolds. When the evening gently closes in and you shut your weary eyes, I'll be there as I have always been, with just one more surprise. I was there to hear your mourning cry. I'll be there when you are old. I rejoice the day you were baptized to see your life. Amen.